All right, hey everybody. So yesterday I made a thread about processes and being successful and kind of trying to improve them. And the initial tweet, I thought there were 5. There were actually 8 things you got to do to improve your processes. So I thought I'd go through them and talk a little bit more in depth about them. The first thing that is necessary to improve a process is you got to be open to change, right? So the way I look at it is that change is vital and improvement is a logical form of change. So I always have to be eyes up, meaning I'm looking around, I'm paying attention to what's around me so that I can determine where there's a failure or where we could improve a process to make it better. So number one thing is you got to be open, and you always got to be looking for that process improvement, right? It doesn't always hit you right in the face. Sometimes you got to dig in a little bit, but we always talk about when I'm coaching sports or when I'm coaching youth teams, it's about, go into a situation with your eyes up, right? And so we talk a lot about it in football. Eyes up is knowing where the ball is around you, where all the players are moving. So you do the same thing in business, right? Go into every meeting eyes up, eyes open, trying to pay attention to everything, trying to determine if there's where places that you can improve. The second thing you have to do to improve a process, you got to reflect on the process. You got to look back at what you did. Where did it break down? What went well but could have gone better? And sometimes it's a little tweak. Maybe it's a phrase that you're using. Maybe it's like a worksheet that you have. Maybe it's an input that you make to the computer. Maybe it's adding something that's like an evaluation from a client, something like that. But you have to absolutely consistently reflect. Be open and reflect back on what you did. The third thing is you got to look for anything that would work better, right? Sometimes, and this is crazy, but a process improvement could be taking out an automation and putting in a human contact point. Or rather than sending an email, send a handwritten letter, right? It's the idea that there's little things that you can do, but you got to look for anything that will work better. And that's part of improving the process. The fourth thing that I think you need to do is once you find that thing that you believe you can do better, document it, right? So that you can look at your beta testing, which is, you used to do it this way, now you do it this way. Is there a better result doing it one way versus the other? So you got to document what in fact you changed and what you did. The fifth thing is craft the technique you're going to use, right? So you're documenting saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Then craft it out and extrapolate on the documentation. Say, okay, this is the technique we're going to use. We're going to use an email system. We're going to use an automation, a workflow, a drip. We're going to use a phone call. We're going to use a handwritten letter. We're going to, we're going to walk it from one place to the other as opposed to send an email about it. Or we're going to send an email and then we're going to text. Whatever it may be, make sure that you craft that technique. Number 6 is easy. Or I should say it's not that easy because it's 90% of the work is implement the change, right? Make sure that it is communicated, it is open, everybody knows about it to improve that process and change it. Make sure you have the buy-in of the people that manage the process and also the people that manage the people that manage the process, right? Everybody's got to be bought into that. I think the seventh step is follow through consistently with the new process, right? Don't put a process in and, I did it the old way. No, when you flip the switch and you implement the process, make the change and stick to it. Consistency is required to get good information back, right? You can always make decisions that say, hey, we tried this process, it failed, I can prove that it failed, let's go back to the old way, or let's try something new. But if you're not doing it consistently, your data is going to be off, right? And then I think number 8 is repeat it all over again. Go reflect on what you've done. And we're talking about improving processes, right? When you get a great system of multiple processes, I call that a method, right? So you're building processes to create a method of doing business or doing a certain thing, right? Whether it's how you train for physical fitness, how you coach kids, how you run a business, how you operate your email inbox, right? All processes. But once you have a good bunch of processes together that you do, you've got a method in doing business. That's worth documentation. That's worth really digging into and constantly improving. So I think repeating those steps 1 through 7 all over again is very important.